this is not a good sign either. Two of the U.S.'s rivals are set to meet this week, and the U.S., of course, is not invited. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and Chinese President Xi Jinping are meeting. And Raisi is taking a 3-day road trip to Communist China. That trip begins tomorrow. And according to a spokeswoman for China's foreign ministry, Raisi was invited by Communist China's president. According to the news media site Politico, the two leaders are expected to sign cooperation documents. Now, those agreements deepen the ties between those two countries. The last time that the two leaders met was in September. They're both in Uzbekistan on the sidelines of a summit. And not only do we not know what those objects are or what their missions were or are, we still do not know who these unidentified flying objects belong to. A former North American Aerospace Defense Command official is sounding the alarm on all of the U.S.'s adversaries. Retired Major General Scott Clancy is the former NORAD Director of Operations. This morning, Clancy spoke on CNN.
What I'm saying is it smells to me, as the guy who was directed to conduct operations to defend North America, I'd be very suspicious, and I'd be on high alert to make sure that all of our adversaries are being countered.
Senior Fellow for China Strategy at the Heritage Foundation, the author of the 100-Year Marathon, Michael Pillsbury, joins me. Good evening, sir. And it does not appear that China tried to be sneaky or secretive with that first spy balloon. It was, I mean, it's flying at 60,000 feet, but even some, commercial or some aircraft can get that high. So what do you think is the point of them sending that spy balloon here so brazenly?
I think a big sort of clue to the mystery, Greta, just came out this afternoon. The head of the Air Force, Chief of Staff of the Air Force over at Brookings, admitted that, I think I'll get his phrase exactly right, we have to fine-tune our radar, he said, because we did not detect this before. Now, from a Chinese point of view, that means the Chinese may have found, what to call it, a loophole, a gap in our air defense system. And so these balloons, as many as there may have been over the last few years in this global program they found a weak point in our system. They've been exploiting it. And it's now something like 8 or 9 days into this mess before the Chief of Staff of the Air Force provides the crucial clue that we weren't looking, or as he put it, our radar wasn't finely tuned enough, so we missed it. So now the question is, how many of these balloons have been coming over in the past, and what have they sort of cumulatively acquired in terms of intelligence about our missile fields, our B-2 bomber field, all these places that they went over? We may be looking at a program, Greta, that's several years old. This is not just day one for China.
I mean, the thing that I find curious, though, is a couple things. One is that China fired back at us, saying that we've had 10 balloons over their land since 2022, January 2022. We deny it. They say that it happened. And the other thing, too, is that when our Secretary of Defense called his counterpart in China, they didn't answer the phone. So, I mean, I don't think that's a particularly good sign. We've set up this network so the two countries can communicate. And do you think the decision to launch this was some errant person in the military, or they tried to get away with this, or did this go all the way up to President Xi Jinping?
I think it went up to the president. At least he approved the overall program. Some DOD officials, I think, with presidential authority, about 4 days ago, briefed several places, including the Washington Post, which front paged it, that China for many years has had a program that covers at least 40 countries. Different balloons can do different things. Obviously, the most dangerous thing for us is if they were taking precision photos of the exact location of our nuclear ICBM silos, the doors, the command and control system. Because as you know, Greta, we've talked about this before, the Chinese believe the nuclear balance of power is changing. The overall economic balance of power already has changed. So they now think they're equal or slightly superior to us. And this balloon espionage program has been designed to help them make their nuclear forces more accurate, even as they're planning to double their nuclear forces. It's in the Pentagon report a few months ago.
Well, based on that, it doesn't give me much comfort to know that the president of Iran, Raisi, is headed there. They obviously have nuclear weapons ambitions if they don't already have a nuclear weapon. You know, and now he's going to Beijing to meet with President Xi. President Xi is also headed to Russia later in the month to meet with President Putin. I mean, a lot of our people that are adversaries are getting very cozy with each other, cozier than I've seen in a long time.
It's certainly something to worry about. Overall, I think from the point of view of the Chinese 100-year marathon strategy, they're ahead of schedule now. They're talking about it won't take as long as they thought. It used to be 2049, Greta, was the end date for when they would surpass us or even be double our economic size. I think the Chinese believe they're way ahead of that now, and their conduct shows their confidence.
Michael Pillsbury, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Greta.